Hey everyone! How are you? Who's here right now? Let's see. Cosmo is first. Hey Nightbot. Nightbot's always in the chat with the unique blue name. I'm not sure how they got that. Lady Natbug, Nikki, Keith, Olaulu, you, Flo, Yoon. Hopefully different one. Jihoon, Bill, Kai, Keith. I already said hey to Keith, but hey again. Welcome everyone. Kai Led. Kai Led or Kai LED? Kai Led's easier to say. Brian NYC, Nastaria, Kim Chisu, Kat, Road2, Jonathan, the Wonderful. Oh, the Great and Wonderful. E.T., Holly, Jasmine. Did I miss any? Oh, Avery, Nikki. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone's name. From Age. Thenarigiful. Some of these names I can't read at all. Everyone, come in. Find a seat. Make yourself at home. We have an intermediate level lesson for you today. Now, there is really nothing that makes any topic a specific level. There's no such thing as beginner, intermediate, or advanced topic. It's just what I call it. Now, I classify this as intermediate because, one, it's not as useful as beginner topics. But the other reason is, although it's really easy to make, it's less common. You're not going to hear it that much. If you don't know this topic, you're still going to be able to have full conversations in Korean. So that's why I'll make it an intermediate level topic. But it's not that hard. We're going to be learning about, actually, it's two separate forms, but they're both the same form that we're going to be working with. So we'll only have to learn one form, which is nice. And it'll be pretty easy to use. So even if you're a beginner, I'd say write it down, at least be able to recognize it, even if you can't use it yet yourself. So there's something here for everyone. And if you're by chance an advanced learner and you already know this form, I still think you're going to get something from this lesson because I think I'm going to make it a little bit easier to understand. Let's see who else is here. Mary Oceani. Hello. Nikki says, snuggled up with a hot water bottle. It's got very cold here again. Kai says, your tongue twister video with Jeremy was so cute and funny. Is he enjoying his reward? Yeah, he spent those. Like, he earned gems. So he gets gems, kind of like his currency to purchase screen time and a few other things he can buy with it, like sometimes picking dinner. He earns them. There are a few ways he can earn them. One of the ways he can earn them is through the videos that we did. When he helps me with videos, he can get a few gems, at least when we're in the US. So he spent those, like, I don't think they lasted more than a day. But yeah, he liked the gems he got. He also earned some more today as well. Keith says, I hear some Minecraft theaters are getting a tad out of hand. Yeah, so Jeremy is also a fan of Minecraft. So I had promised him that we will go see the new Minecraft movie as soon as it comes out. So I actually took him to go see it yesterday. I got now movie theaters are very, very expensive, but we make do. We can find discounted tickets. They're out there. So we got some tickets. We went to go see it. Brought our own snacks. I don't go to the movies very often. I don't know about you guys. How often do you go to the movie theaters? I wish I could go more often, but it's just like, I'll just wait for it to come out and rent it. I don't really want to, unless it's something I'm really looking forward to, then I'll go in the theaters. But anyway, so we took him to the Minecraft movie yesterday. Yeah, it was bad. Not the movie. The movie was actually surprisingly not bad. It was watchable. I thought it was kind of funny at some parts. But the experience, was bad. It was, Kat. Hey, Kat. Let me acknowledge Kat. I don't want to ignore your donation. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it was loud. There were lots of unsupervised kids. People were talking throughout the whole movie. It was at the other side of the theater, so I didn't really feel comfortable standing up and be like, shut up, kids. I'm not going to do that. If I was right next to them, then maybe I'd be like, hey, guys, can you please be quiet? But they're on the other side. But behind me, and my wife, there was some kids also that kept kicking the seats in the beginning. They did eventually stop, but then there during a few of the scenes, everyone was like laughing and talking really loud, but not in like an enjoying the movie way, but more of like a let's just talk kind of way. If that makes sense. Like anyway, it wasn't all bad. It wasn't horrible, but it was like it was one of the worst experiences I've had in the past year. I'll say I have had worse before, but within the past year, it was the worst movie theater experience I've had. So if you are someone who wants to see that new movie, I might recommend waiting a bit. At least wait until it's been in theaters already for a few weeks and everyone who wants to see it has seen it. And then if you go and see it in theaters and you want that theater experience, then you probably will have a better time. Maybe pick an early show time. Yeah. It was not great. Kai says, Billy really said, Kai, I don't care you're a beginner. Take notes and pay attention. Yes, this lesson is all for you, Kai. In fact, I wrote this lesson only for Kai. So if your name is not Kai, I'd appreciate it if you just get out right now. So this is just for Kai, just letting everyone know. No, anyone, no matter what your level, as long as you know the alphabet, I'm going to make this lesson simple enough for you to understand. Let's see. Rotu says, I just learned about Myeonso in university. This is perfect. Great. Yeah, you'll be able to use this form as well. In fact, I'll spoil it. The form we're learning today, you can use it in the same way as Myeonso. Although that's not how we're going to be learning it today. There's another way that it gets used, but it can also be used in the same way. Movie theaters have definitely gotten worse the last few years. I think that might depend on the area that you're in. I don't know if it's gotten necessarily worse. It was already pretty bad. I think people are comparing movie going to the age of like before we had cell phones. I think they're comparing it to that. Whereas nowadays, a lot of people just pull out their cell phones and they're like texting or something during the movie, which is kind of annoying because you can see it. But other than that, I don't know if the actual overall experience is necessarily worse, because I seem to remember as a kid, you'd go to the movies and they'd be more people, obviously, but people are still like talking, coughing, getting in and getting out and bringing in snacks and eating. You wouldn't hear necessarily people talking on their phones or people like yelling out at random times, but it would still be kind of like a group experience. Whereas nowadays there are fewer people in each movie screening, at least where I am, there are fewer people, but you notice the distractions more. So yeah, I think it just depends on the movie. Like, I'm not going to go to a movie theater to see a movie that I know people are going to be disruptive during. Like, I wouldn't go to see Morbius when it was in theaters for the same reason. And I wasn't going to see Minecraft, except that Jeremy really wanted to see it, so that's why we did. I have not finished When Life Gives You Tangerines. What's that? Natalia says, thanks for your classes. 20 days, I've learned more than ever. Finally got the motivation to learn Korean, and your classes are very helpful. Nice. We've got another hopefully helpful class for you today coming up. No, YouTube, I'm not going to slam ads in this right now. It always bugs me. It says now would be a great time to insert an ad into your live stream. I'm like, there are like 70 people watching trying to learn Korean. No. But it still asks me. It's like, would you like to turn on automated ads? We'll take care of it. I'm like, no, then people are going to miss the lesson. Help, I can't take crying anymore. Does it stop? Ah, it's a Korean show. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that show. I haven't heard of it. What kind of show? A Korean drama, you say? Unless you're talking about something else. Yeah, I don't watch much Korean TV or read Korean books. So if you're wondering, do I have to watch specific Korean TV shows or do this or that in order to learn Korean? The answer is no. You can find other ways to get listening practice. Other ways to get reading practice. You don't have to do the same. You don't have to necessarily get into the popular shows and stuff if you're not interested in that. Although typically most people are. I just am not. It's about Koreans back in the day. Ah, okay. Kind of like a period drama, or is it like it's just like a drama that's set like what, 30, 40, 50 years ago or something. Kim Min-jun says, every time YouTube asks for an ad placement, you should just make and play a little jingle for your free Korean course. Yeah, I mean, I have a free Korean course. I don't really know if that's advertising because I'm not making any money on it. You know, I haven't checked how much money did I make from that course on YouTube ads. So if I have a free beginner course, many of you know that. Oh, if you're coming here right now, don't worry. We'll get started with the lesson right at the top of the hour. I always just talk about random stuff and hang out with the chat before our lesson starts. So I have a beginner course. It has 100 episodes. It's completely free. It's never going to go paid. It's always been free. There's no version that you could buy of it. It's just a course. Anyway, so there are ads on that video, on those videos though, although I believe it's only at the beginning and the very end. I don't think there are ads in between though. I don't know if YouTube's going to change that, but anyway, it's on YouTube. It's free. There are ads at the beginning. So I still get paid for ads for that series. And the first episode has the most views. The first episode now has over 1 million views, which is great. That means 1 million people have clicked on it, or you've clicked refresh 1 million times. Either way, I probably have made about $1,000 from that first episode. The other ones haven't. The other ones don't get that many views. But the first episode, anyway, most people watch it and they're like, oh, okay, so that's what learning Korean might be like. And then they don't watch the next one, but that's okay. But yeah, I don't really consider it advertisement if I mention it because, like I said, it's not, even that amount doesn't pay back for what I spent on it, as well as how much time I put into it. But yes, I do have a free beginner course. I don't make money when you watch it, but I still like when you watch it. I want to know more people are learning Korean with it. What's the difference between 황당하다 and 당황하다? Actually, I have this in a list of future video ideas I'd like to do, but I can't do it in the next set of videos because I'm currently working on another free course, which will be released. I hope I can start releasing it at the end of next month. After I finish that, then I would like to do a video about those two, but it's not really a big deal. It's just 2 words. I would just, if you want to find, because they have pretty much the same English definition, but if you want to find examples, I recommend checking Naver Dictionary. The one you're going to use though, if you're asking this question as a beginner, then I can give you the answer right now. You want 당황하다. If you're asking this question as an intermediate learner, you might want to wait for the video because I'm going to give some examples, or you can just check on Naver Dictionary. It has the Korean definition there. The lifetime of a Jeju-do daughter and her family from 1960. Okay. Ayoni asks, is there a difference between 계속 and 자꾸? Yes. 계속 is continually without stopping. And 자꾸 is doing it over and over and over and over again. Repeatedly is the answer. So generally they both mean you keep doing something, but 계속 is like continually keep doing something, and 자꾸 is like this. So it's for actions that happen over and over and over and over again like that. Like once the action happens, again it happens like that. So it's a different nuance. In addition, because 자꾸 means like you keep doing it, not that it's just continually going or someone's continually doing it, but because they keep doing it, it can have the nuance of someone's bothering you by doing it. Like they keep doing it like this, 자꾸. You wouldn't say 계속. You could say 계속 as well, but it kind of implies 계속 is like smoothly, it's going on non-stop. So they just have different connotations. But 자꾸 can sound impolite. It can sound like you're complaining about it because of that. Kim Min-jun says, personally, I bought your 3 books because I took that free course. Nice. Yeah, a few people I think have probably done the same thing where they watch the course and they're like, hey, I want to get his books. And they've gotten the books as well. I recommend your course to literally everyone who is thinking about learning. Thanks. Me too. I send so many people to your videos. Nice. New free course. Yeah, this new course I'm doing right now, I'm really looking forward to getting it out because I'm so tired of working on it. Honestly, it is the biggest. I mean, I like the course, but it's the biggest single project I've ever released at once. But yeah, it'll be another free course. It's going to be all, I'm hesitant to say all because someone's going to find one that I missed. But as far as I know, every sentence connector in Korean, including like rare ones, including like conversation only ones. For example, ones you're not going to find in books, including beginner, intermediate, and advanced and high advanced forms. And the course is ridiculously packed. Like I shared an image of all of the topics that I cover in my Discord. If you're on my Discord, if you're a member, you should join my Discord. You get access to like a members only channel where I occasionally will post projects that I'm working on that I don't announce. I shared it in there. I don't know how many forms there are. I didn't count, like 100 something. The course is ridiculously long. But yeah, it'll be like every single sentence connector, and it's divided into sections so you can watch it as a new beginner. Now, you obviously would need to know the alphabet and really basic stuff, but you can still watch it as a beginner. Or if you want something more difficult, you can watch it as an intermediate learner, and everything's labeled and categorized so that you can simply skip over the stuff that's not your level. And if you're advanced, you can watch their lessons will have like 3-star topics, which are the more advanced stuff. Just focus on those. Some lessons are completely advanced and beginners can just skim through it and skip the whole thing. So yeah, it's going to be like that for all levels. And it's going to be 20 lessons. I'll release it in video form. It'll be completely free. There's a book version, but the book version doesn't have any extra forms. The book version will have extra example sentences though, because I wasn't able to fit that many example sentences in the course. So each form that I give, each sentence connector comes with like 1 or 2 extra sentences, which will be in the book only. And those will be usually a little, I can't speak. Those will usually be a little bit more complicated than what goes in the course. So if you feel like, oh, I really want a little bit more for each of these, then you can get the book, but it's the same lessons. You're not really losing anything by not getting the book. But anyway, that hopefully, I'll be able to start releasing the end of next month, but I still have, I'm about halfway done with writing it, and it takes a long time because I have to release a book at the same time. Right now I'm commissioning artwork for it. Very soon I'll be commissioning audio files, so the whole thing will be voiced by native Korean, and yeah, so you can look forward to that next month, and I hope people like it because it's going to be 20 episodes, whether you like it or not. Got a fan base marketing for you, Billy. Okay, nice. Mary Laura says, you recommend Naver Dictionary. On what scale would you rate it in terms of accuracy and closeness to the actual language use, like natural language use? 100%. It's, if you don't know if a word is useful, they have little stars. Now, I made a video about this with some tips. If you search my channel for Naver, you'll see there's a video about how to use Naver Dictionary. But words that are really common will have stars, 1, 2, or 3 stars, depending on how frequently they're used. If a word doesn't have any star, it doesn't mean it's not used. It just means it's not a really frequent word. So if you're searching for a simple word and you don't see a star, it might not be that word, is what I'm saying. But no, Naver is great. Naver also has actual recordings for all of the words. So there's a little speaker icon and it's an actual Korean saying the word. So it's not just like a bot or something. Naver is made by Koreans. Yeah, it's basically the Google of Korea. So if you're trying to search information on Korean websites, you're going to find it much better, much more easily on Naver. And then they have a dictionary. And that's the dictionary that I always like using, although it kind of has too much information sometimes. So if you use it and you haven't used a dictionary before at all, understand that the dictionary is going to give you a lot of stuff you don't need. Like it'll give you translations for words in other languages that you're not studying, which I think is I wish you can kind of turn that off and just select the languages you want to see, but it gives them to you. It gives you full Korean dictionary in Korean as well. So if you see the word in English and you want to know, well, how is that different than this word? Just click to see the Korean definition and you'll see how it's different exactly. Yeah, it's tough to navigate. For me, I'm comfortable with it because I used it so much. But if you're a new beginner, you might instead prefer the Korean language learners. Actually, I think it's called Korean Learners Dictionary. So if you go to Google and you search Korean Learner Dictionary, you'll find it. It's similar to that, but it's less information and it's mainly just made for people who are learning Korean, so it's going to be a little easier to use. But I still prefer Naver because it has everything. Naver will even have like slang words that have been added, kind of like it has a built-in like urban dictionary type of thing. So if you're looking for a word that's not really in the dictionary, but people use it, it'll list it there and it'll say it's like, oh, this comes from this dictionary, you know, it's not a standard word. So you can know about a lot of stuff like that too. I have to read the sentences to get ideas of the uses. Usually what I do is I just read the Korean definition. But yeah, if you want to know how to use it, then check out the sentences. And it'll have sentences not only from like dictionary sentences, like really standard ones, but it'll have example sentences from Weverse as well. Or it would have like various videos, whatever source they get it from. So you can see like actual examples of how that's used. Okay, we're going to start in just a couple minutes. Really quick. We have another live class next Sunday as well, and I'll put up a vote for that tomorrow, so you can choose what topic you want to learn, or maybe the vote will go up on Tuesday. I'm not really sure because we'll see what time I can put up. Anyway, yeah, so there will be another lesson on Sunday as well. Today, I'll get started in a minute, but today we're going to be learning about an intermediate level topic, and if you know these forms already, you're going to have a better time. So that's how to say and using ko or 서. And 으면서 meaning while, like while you're doing something, like 밥을 먹으면서 공부를 했어요. Like while I was eating, I studied. So if you know these already, you're going to have an easier time with the lesson today, especially with conjugation, because the way it conjugates is exactly the same as 면서. So if you can conjugate 면서, you can conjugate the form we're going to be using today. Okay, about like 10 more seconds. Is 다가 not included today? No, because the lesson is not about how to say while. The lesson is just about a different form that has the same conjugation as 면서. Or actually, it's the same conjugation as 면, like if you do something. Okay, let's get started. We're going to be learning about two forms today for intermediate level, and they actually both are the same form. So the way it works, I'll show you the form first. So you take a verb stem, so that's just the verb like 하다 with the 다 removed. That's it. And then you're going to either attach 며 if it ends with a consonant, or attach 며 by itself if it ends with a vowel. Now, the way this works is the same as other forms that also conjugate with this. For example, the form 으면, like when or if you do something, or like 으면서, it conjugates in the exact same way as this. By that, I mean there are the exact same exceptions when you conjugate it. For example, if the verb stem ends with this letter, lir, then even though it's a consonant, you're just going to attach 며. Or if the verb stem ends with this letter, most of the time, you're going to remove it and attach 우, and then 며. And there are a few exceptions like that. Now, these sorts of exceptions aren't extremely common, but they apply to this form as well as to 면 or 면서. So if you already know the exceptions for those forms, this is the exact same thing. So that's all you have to do to make the form. Nothing else. I'm going to leave this up for just 10 seconds, and then I'm going to talk to you about what is this form. Oh yeah, we got a new animal. It's kind of like it's a type of bird. 주작? Jeremy said it's, hold on, I gotta search it up. Search it, because it's actually a word I don't know. An animal I don't know. Let me check. It's called a vermilion bird. I have no idea what a vermilion bird is. Let me check. It's one of the 4 symbols of the Chinese constellations. I don't know. It's some fire-colored bird. It's a word I didn't know in Korean. He kept telling me, it's, you know, he's saying it to me in Korean because he doesn't know the English word either. But anyway, it's another bird that Jeremy added. And he's like, can you add this to the thing? Maybe the people want to see it. I'm like, okay. So we added it there. Okay. I'll go with crad a Kyle from what I see. It's a vermilion times cooler than other birds. Nice. Okay. So what is this form? Well, this form has two major uses. The first usage of this form is to mean the exact same thing as 면서, meaning while. Like while something is doing something, they do this. Like while you study, you watch K-dramas, something like that, this sort of while. The form 며 has that same usage as well. That's one of its meanings. But it has a second meaning, which 면서 does not have, and that can translate as and. We're not going to be talking about this usage today. Just know that it's another way that it can be used. So if you see 며, it might be being used to mean while. But we're going to be talking about this usage today to mean and. Again, 면서 cannot be used to mean this. This is a special usage of 며. First of all, though, if you use this form 여, what is the difference between using this form 며 and using 면서 to mean while? If they can both mean the same thing, why might you use one or the other? Does anyone know the difference in nuance between using this form to mean while and using a different form? Can anyone think of it? You might already know. If you do, go ahead and say it. If not, I'll tell you in a second. 무노체. Yeah, you're pretty close. Yeah, it's written, but it doesn't have to be written. It could be spoken. Like phoenix, tiger, turtle, and dragon. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of like that, yeah. 며 is used for nouns. Nope, but it can be used for nouns, but not like this. It's official, yeah. If you use this form, it has a written or formal feeling, meaning this is not a form you're going to ever use in everyday speech. If you're trying to say, I did something while doing something else, you're not going to use 며 ever for regular speech. You could use it for writing if you're writing something formal or kind of fancy sounding, but you're never going to use it in your regular speech. So whether it's being used to mean while or and, it'll have this formal, written, kind of fancy feeling to it. So I said it can mean while, but it could also mean and. By meaning and, you can kind of replace it in your head with this particle, 고. Sorry, not particle. You can kind of replace it with this connector, 고, meaning and. So if you see something, something, something 며 or 며, just kind of think in your head that it's 고. That'll help you at least to understand it. So that's a little trick. If you ever see it and you're not sure what it means, just replace it with this, at least to help it make sense. So, does anyone know the difference, though, between using 며 to mean and or 고 to mean and? Besides being kind of more formal and written, kind of fancy, besides that, there's another difference between these two. Does anyone know? I mean, also besides it being able to use to mean while, there's another meaning. These are different. These have different meanings, different nuances. I'll tell you in case you don't know, but feel free to guess. It's not if. Mikey said if. It's not if. That would be 면. But you're not too far off because it does look like that. 고 is completion. Not quite. I mean, it can be. So one thing is cool doesn't just mean and, but when you're using cool with verbs, action verbs, it also implies and then, like, and then something happens. So cool can mean both and, or with action verbs, and then, meaning the order that something happens. Like this happens and then this happens. 묘, however, does not have that extra like and then meaning. 묘 can mean and, but it has a different nuance. The nuance of using 묘 is like you are listing whatever verbs it's used with. Oh, hold on. I got a donation. I don't know how much that is. What is IDR? IDR. Indonesian rupiahs. Thanks. That's like almost $2. Twinigo. I don't know how to say thank you in Indonesian, but thank you. Okay. When you use 묘 to mean and, it has the feeling that you're listing off multiple verbs. For example, and this, and this, and this, and this. That's what it has the feeling of. And I'll show you that when we get to some examples. It'll make more sense. You'll feel it when we get to there. But yeah. Okay. So keep that in mind, that it means and, but it doesn't just mean like I go to the store and I do this. It is this and it is this. But it sounds more like, well, I go to the store, I eat pizza, I like hamburgers. It sounds like that. Notice what I'm doing. I am extending the final vowel in a word. Well, 철수. Let's talk about 철수, okay? 철수 is smart and kind, right? 똑똑하고 친절해요. He is smart and kind. That's the nuance you get when you use this. 똑똑하며 친절해요. This one, the nuance is not just for an English speaker. It's not just he is smart and nice, but it kind of sounds like you're listing things off. He's smart and he's kind. Like that. So let me give you the first example sentence. I'm not going to write it in red. I'm not going to write Charsu's name in red. I've been using red a bit, but you should not use red ever for writing someone's name. For other stuff, it's kind of okay. Hold on, let me rewrite his name. So this is a different eraser than I normally use, and the magnet's on the side. I keep putting it this way how my other ones are, and it keeps falling. So, 철수가, so our friend 철수, 똑똑하다, to be smart. 똑똑하며. 친절하다 is to be kind. 친절해요. 철수가 똑똑하며 친절해요. So, 철수 is smart and he's nice. Versus 똑똑하고 친절해요, which is also fine to say. He is smart and kind. So, 며, again, has the feeling that you're simply listing off multiple verbs. You're saying, by that I mean, you're giving examples. You're just saying, well, this, and this, and this. Like you're listing things off. This form is less common than other forms to say and, in case you didn't already get that from my earlier explanation. You're not going to be using this that much. But if you do use it, that's the nuance that it has. And again, it has kind of a fancy feeling to it. It kind of has like a written or a formal feeling. It doesn't have to be used in formal speech, but the form itself kind of has more of a fancy feeling, I'll say. Okay, 철수가 똑똑하며 친절해요. 철수 is smart and kind. I have to make nice sentences about 철수 every now and then, so the 철수 Foundation doesn't sue me. The 철수 union of all the 철수's around the world. Okay, next sentence. Let me write this a little bit nicer. Space? Yes, okay. Nope. 자주 입어요. Okay. 저는 이 코트, this coat, 이 코트가 따뜻하다, to be warm, 따뜻하며. So this coat is warm, 며 and 부드럽다 is to be soft, 부드러워서. Because this coat is warm and soft, 자주 입어요. I wear it 자주, often. 저는 이 코트가 따뜻하며 부드러워서 자주 입어요. So for me, I like to wear this coat, or I wear this coat often because it's warm and soft. Or if we add in that nuance, I wear this coat often because it's warm and soft. 저는 이 코트가 따뜻하며 부드러워서 자주 입어요. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a second. I still have two more sentences for this form, and then we have another form that's it's actually the exact same form, but works a little differently. More literary. Yeah, it is. The eraser isn't invisible anymore. Yes, that's right. Yeah, because I'm not using a green screen anymore for most of these classes. Kim Min-jun, yeah, it's kind of like that. Although, I mean, yeah, sure, you can think of it like that. It does sound like you're listing things. Like, it means there are more, but this is all I'm gonna say. It's like you're listing something is what the feeling is. Not only is it warm, but also soft. You wouldn't say not only is it, because there is a different form that's literary that you can use to say not only. 따뜻할 뿐만 아니라. You can use that. Not only is it, or that. I hear it used a lot in North Korean TV. You shouldn't be watching North Korean TV. That's gonna not help your South Korean. Now, if you are planning to get captured by North Korea and forced to live there, then yeah, by all means, learn North Korean. Or if you're trying to be a spy, or you're trying to work for the government, they're gonna train you themselves. It's gonna look really fishy on your resume when they're like, you already know North Korean? Already know here knows North Korean. Why? So don't do it, please. You're free to learn whatever language you want, but this is like you're learning the language of a country that you actually should not be traveling to and can't legally travel to, at least not through Korea. Yeah, anyway, that's all I'll say on it. Someday if it opens up, I'm going to be among the first in line to go in, but right now it is not. Okay. Okay, I have 2 more sentences for this form, then we have another form. Okay, 곰 인형. So bear, doll, literally. This is stuffed bear or teddy bear. 곰 인형이 작으며. So 작다 is to be small. So the bear doll, the teddy bear, is small. It's small and 귀엽다 is to be cute. 귀여워요. So the bear doll is small and it's cute. 곰 인형이 작으며 귀여워요. Hey, Natalia. ARS. Sweet. It's like 50 cents. I'll round up. Thank you. Round up to 2/4. Nice. Appreciate it. Do you have a message? Someone said, I don't believe South and North Korean are any different than US and AU English. Are you talking about the English? You're talking about the language. Oh yeah, it's different. It's to the extent that you're going to have a problem understanding them and vice versa. So what they actually have to do is when North Koreans escape into South Korea, there are various ways that they can do this. But when they manage to escape and come to South Korea, they actually are not required to, I believe, but they're encouraged to. They get resources to do language training. Basically, they have them do language school for South Korean, believe it or not, because there are so many things that they don't know. And if they just come over to South Korea and they try to integrate themselves, like if you were to go over to Australia and you don't take class to speak Australian, like why would you? It's English, right? You go to Australia, you live there for a few years, you're good, right? You're going to pick up the expressions. You're going to be good. No one's going to really care. In fact, people won't even know you're not from there if you start talking like them. My aunt moved over to Australia and within 2 years talks like an Australian person. She sounds nothing like she did before. That's just her. If someone from Australia moves to the US and starts speaking like a Californian, you're not going to really know. Like, do people even think that Hugh Jackman is from Australia when they hear him talk? No, he just sounds like an American in his movies. So it's no big deal. North Koreans cannot do that. It is not possible for them to do that. The languages are more separate. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff they have to learn in order to integrate into South Korea. And they get a lot of discrimination because of that, because they don't understand a lot of the things that South Koreans usually commonly don't exist over there. Like none of the terminology over there. So they have to like go to school kind of to relearn that. Unless of course they come over here at a young age, like a kid, then they're not going to have to do that because they can learn the same as any other kid. But yeah. So no, it is quite different. It's not just pronunciation. It's like a whole different vocabulary for a lot of things. Like another thing that you probably are aware of in Korean is the use of Konglish. About 5% of Korean, it might be larger, but this is what I've read, is about 5% is Konglish, which is words that are from typically English most of the time. And these are words that are in Korean, but the meanings might not be the exact same as English, but they're similar. It comes from English words. They don't have that in North Korean. They have words that came from Russian. So imagine if you had to relearn and stop using at the same time 5% of all your vocabulary words that you ever used. Like if I point at I can't remember the word they use for, like all the pronunciation, they might have the same word, like a foreign word, but they'll pronounce it from the Russian side instead of the English side, like what you would hear in Korea. So it's messed up. It's really not an easy thing to integrate. Okay. Flo says, my daughter lives in Seoul, worked with a group for a while that helped North Korean. Yeah, there are groups that do that. Yes. Helps North Koreans learn the language. It's definitely different. Yeah, it's a really big thing. North uses hanja. No, actually, yes and no. North Korea, hopefully I'm not diverting too much from the lesson, but North Korea has, like, the idea is that they kind of try to present it like, oh, we're going to be more pure Korean. We're not going to use, English words and stuff. We're not going to use all these Chinese characters and stuff. We're going to be like pure Korean. But the fact is, no, that because of their huge influence from Russia, they have a lot of Russian stuff in their culture. Even the word for, like, I think I taught this in a video. In an older video, I actually taught this wrong because I had heard that they used to call the word for ice cream as ice candy or ice snack. But nowadays I heard that's not true. They actually call ice cream Eskimo, which is a Russian brand of ice cream, apparently, or Chinese brand of ice cream, like through Russia. So they have a lot of like Russian influence in there. It's not like it's a pure version that somehow managed not to have foreign influence. They do, but they kind of like to present it that it's not that way. So, okay. But yeah, it's not like a totally different language, but it is more different than, say, American English and British English. Maybe a better comparison would be like American English and Appalachian English, if anyone has heard that before, or like British English and like Gaelic, something like that. Like you could learn it, right? I'm not really sure if I can make a good comparison though, but it really is like, while it's similar, although those aren't, but like while like it's English in both cases for American English or like Appalachian English, it's both English, but you're gonna have to relearn so many things that you might as well kind of just treat it like a foreign language. Okay. One more sentence for this, and then we're gonna go on to another form, which is also the same form. So it's actually gonna be easier for the next form we're doing. Oh man, this thing keeps falling over. I just want to switch it. I'm getting tired of it collapsing. I remember hearing like people who would come over from North Korea and thinking, oh, that's like the coolest thing in the world, man. They're getting, way better lives. They're going to have, so much happier than they're going to be up there. But the reality is that some of them will come over to South Korea and have a hard time adapting, especially when they come over later. Like they speak differently. They can't understand. Companies might not want to hire them. You kind of get discriminated a bit. So they end up having a difficult life. Although, yeah, they have, they can have food, they can have freedom, all those things over in South Korea, but they can still have difficult lives coming over to South Korea because of all the things they have to adapt to. I've heard it's kind of difficult. It's not like they just come over to South Korea and then boom, they're like living in a mansion and, wealthy and people are interviewing them or anything like that. It's kind of a difficult situation. 샐러리는 칼로리가 적으며, calorie, 적다 is to be a few, to not be many. So it's the opposite of 많다. So there are few calories, and 적으며, and 건강하다 is to be healthy. 건강한 음식, food, 이에요. So it's a healthy food. So celery is low in calorie and a healthy food. So celery is a food that is low in calorie and healthy. 샐러리는 샐러리는 칼로리가 적으며 건강한 음식이에요. So celery is low in calories and a healthy food. Okay, I'll leave this up just for 30 seconds and then we're going to go on to the next form. Eskimo is a Russian brand of ice cream. Okay, that I didn't want to say for sure. I was like, it might be Chinese, but I had heard it was Russian. Fisho says Dave did a video on this actually. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know he did a video about like the adapting to South Korea. I know that he did videos on like interviewing people and having them say expressions in North and South Korea. I remember watching him like years ago. I have a friend that's native Italian. They moved to California as an adult. They said Italian is close enough to Spanish that she can understand and communicate with local Spanish speakers. Yes. Gaelic is a completely different language. Yeah, it wasn't the best example. I think I was thinking of Scottish English first. Yes. You should add a magnet. The thing is, there is a magnet. It's just tiny. I could add a magnet here, but this whole thing cost like $1. And I'm gonna have to throw it away anyway after a week because they don't last that long. So what would you do for a Klondike bar? I would I don't know. Klondike bars aren't that great. I don't know. They're okay. I think Big Boys are where it's at. I haven't had a Big Boy in a very long time, but those are really good. I just kind of like, I'm a simple guy. I like ice cream sandwiches, regular ice cream in a sugar cone. Klondike bars to me are a little bit fancy, like kind of like fancy ice cream. Like it's good. I'll say thanks. I'll eat it if someone gives it to me, but I'm not going to buy it with my own money. I think just an ice cream sandwich is what I'd want. Do you know that YouTube channel called Language Sim? Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I think I've watched 1 or 2 of his videos before because they've been suggested to me. It's true they're not amazing, but I like the drumstick. Drumsticks are good too. Yeah, drumsticks are good too. What would you do for a Klondike bar was an old advertising, like a campaign where they would be like, what would you do for a Klondike bar? And then the person would say they do something like ridiculous. I don't remember what they ever said they would do. I just remember that concept. And that chocolate at the bottom, like, oh yeah. So they put the chocolate at the bottom just so that it wouldn't leak out. But it's such a nice thing that they added. So like the bottom inch is just filled with chocolate. It's like crunchy chocolate. Okay. I don't know. Dipping Dots are pretty good too. If I have to pick like other ice cream that I like, Dipping Dots are good. My favorite though is just a big scoop of mint chocolate chip on a sugar cone. I'm happy with that. Maybe I'm a bit old school, or I mean, I did work at Baskin Robbins, so I got to try all the ice cream. I got every day the boss gave me ice cream, which is not normal if you work at a Baskin Robbins. You usually don't get ice cream for free every day, but the boss every single day he's like, get yourself some ice cream every day before I could work like a 3-hour shift. He's like, get yourself some ice cream. Okay. Gave me free ice cream cakes on my birthday, all that stuff. So I would get ice cream, every flavor. I tried every flavor. I tried all like hundreds of combinations. I would try random stuff you would never bother ordering, but it's free. And I still think my favorite is just mint and chip in a sugar cone. Okay. The next form we're going to be learning is actually one that uses this exact same form we just learned, except this time it uses it with the verb ida. So ida is to be. You get the verb stem. It ends in a vowel, so we attach myo, right? But since it's ida, typically the e goes away when whatever it's used after ends with a vowel also. So if we use ida after a noun, if the noun ends with a consonant, you're going to attach imyo. And if the noun ends with a vowel, you're going to just attach 묘. So, what does this mean? Can anyone guess what this form means? I'll give you a hint. It's literally the exact same thing, but now we're doing it with ida. Can anyone guess what it means? Oh, hey, Flo Purdy. Thank you, Flo. It's a good time for a donation. I was just about to look at the chat anyway. Let me read your message. Flo says, bottom of the hour donation to the artwork / audiophile fund for the new course. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. This one has more audio files than any other project I've done. It has more audio files than my book. It has more audio files than the conversation course. It's about 2 times as much as the conversation course, I'll say. So I'm expecting a price tag of twice as much as well, but we'll see. Maybe they'll charge me more. I don't know. Thank you. The Korean fish ice cream. Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's on the tip of my tongue. 사망코? I think it is. I can't remember exactly. Something like that. Yeah, it's the fish one that has the ice cream inside of it, and sometimes it'll have the like some other thing in there as well, like pot, like the red bean paste or something. They sell them in the frozen section. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Something like that. I can't remember how the tune goes. N. Yeah. Lady Nat Bug says, I've been wanting to try Fat Boys. Yeah, they're pretty good. Don't get turned off by the name. Maybe the name, I don't know. Because they're thick. They're like this. They're just like a cube ice cream sandwich that are thick. What makes them nice, though, why I'd probably recommend them, isn't because like the ice cream's specially good or anything. It's just because the cookie part at the top, the whatever is it? I don't really know exactly. The soft cookie at the top and bottom of ice cream sandwich, that is kind of thick and it's pretty consistent. So sometimes you'll buy sandwiches and it's like really thin and mushy. These ones are pretty consistent and the ice cream is consistently okay. So you can buy other ice cream sandwiches and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're meh. Whereas the Fat Boy ones are consistently what they are. They're like every time it's the same thing and it's always pretty good. So that's why I like those ones. 똑똑한 사람이며 친절한 사람이에요. Nice, Mary Lars. So yes, this is the exact same form we had before, but now I'm just saying it's used with ida. So something is a noun and another noun. So this form also, just like 묘, this form also has a written or a formal or a kind of fancy feeling, and you're also not going to use this in everyday speech. So again, this is the same form, but now we can use it with nouns instead of verbs. So what is this form then? Well, I said that 음요 is kind of like the form 고, right? So it's something and something, but it sounds like you're listing them. This form 이묘, since it's ida, it's basically the same thing as 이고. So something is something and whatever else comes after it. That's pretty much it. Again, this has the feeling of you're listing off, in this case, nouns. So instead, before we were listing off verbs like this, for example, but now we're listing off nouns. So it is this, and it is this, like that. So this has the nuance, again, that there are more similar nouns, but I'm only going to list 2. So, for example, this, and it's this. There are more, but that's all I'm going to say. So this is the exact same nuance as 음요. In English, again, we'll do this by extending the final vowel in a word. So if you were to say, my dog is my family, 가족이고. Oh no, let me say, for example, if you were to say, my dog is my friend and my family, you could say, 우리 강아지는 제 친구, my friend이고 가족이에요. So my dog is my friend and is my family. You could say that. Or now if you say it with 음요, you have the nuance of saying my dog is my friend and my family. And it implies that there's more, but you're only saying those two things. Okay. There's one more thing that you should also know about using imyo with nouns, and that is it's common, although not required, but it's common that you're going to use this twice. Once after the first noun and again after the second noun if you're using it in a sentence. So if you're just going to say something like, my dog is my friend and my family, that's it. The last part of the sentence just ends with, they are my family. So they are my friend and they are my family. If the sentence ends, you only need to use it once. But if you're going to say, oh, I have so many people to invite to my party, like my friends and my family, that's not the end of the sentence. So it's going to be common that you're going to actually use imyo twice, once after the first noun and again exactly the same after the second noun. So you're saying it's this and like that. So you'll see it used twice when it's not at the end of a sentence. So again, it's like saying, actually, let me give you an example sentence. But if you've never seen anything like this before, if you're just kind of taking notes, just write this equals equal and you're going to be fine for understanding it. Okay. 우리 강아지는, so our, literally, my dog is 제 친구, my friend이며, and they are 가족이에요, my family. 우리 강아지는 제 친구이며 가족이에요. So my dog is my friend and my family. That's the first sentence. I'll leave this up just for 30 seconds, and then we'll go on to the next one. E.T. asks, Billy, do I like G-Dragon? I don't really know, do I? I've heard of him, or them. Is it a group or a person? I actually don't know. Let me check. Is this the guy? Wait, hold on. Is this? What did he write? Oh, he was a leader of Big Bang? I don't think I know him. I don't know. I've just heard of the name, but I'm not sure if I know him or not. I probably know some of his songs. Assuming he's famous, I've heard his name before. Probably they played his songs before in cafes, then I might know his songs, but nothing comes to mind. No, not the Squid Game guy. Squid Game guy was the other guy. If I hear his name, I'll know it. The other group. I like the Squid Game guy. I hated his character, which means he did a really good job. Hopefully, though, we won't have to wait too long for the conclusion of Squid Game. I think they said they're going to be releasing it in June. which will be good. Okay. I still think they shouldn't have called it season 2. They should have called it season 2 part 1, because calling it season 2 but then not giving us a proper season was kind of dumb. They should have just been upfront and said, hey, season 2, we split it up. Here's part 1 this day and part 2 coming out then. No one would have gotten upset. But instead they're like season 2, and everyone was expecting an introduction, a climax, and an ending like the first one, and it wasn't. It's just cut in half. I didn't really like that. They should have called it season 2 part 1. Okay. 저는 유튜버이며 선생님이에요. So I am a YouTuber and I'm a teacher. 저는 유튜버이며 선생님이에요. Pretty simple, right? You can just think of this as meaning 이고 저는 유튜버고 선생님이에요. I'm a YouTuber and I'm a teacher. The end. Same thing. It just has that fancy formal nuance, like you're listing off things. Like there's more, but this is all I'm saying. Oh, actually, I'll leave this up for a second, in case there's someone still writing it down. So Ji-hoon Lee is listing off one of those, though, is not this form. Yeonso would be a different meaning. Quiverdoodle is saying it wouldn't be used in casual conversation. No, you're not going to use this in any of your regular conversation, not just casual, but you're not going to use it in your informal conversation either. You're not going to use it in your formal conversation either, because it has more of a written, more of a fancy feeling to it. Okay. Okay, let me now give you a few examples where we use more than one of them, because this is where you're going to most often see it used with email, is going to be when it's more than one. Okay. Helly says, what about in professional settings? No, you're still not going to use this for very much. I'll say this. If you're like giving a presentation and you want to sound a little fancy, then sure. But not in your regular situations. So, okay. 친구들이며. Actually, first, let's look at actually the end of the sentence before we look at the form that we're doing. 부를 사람이 많아요. This is 부르다. 부르다 means to call out, to call for. So in this case, 부를 사람, people to call, meaning to invite. So I have lots of people I can call over. I have lots of people I'll invite. 이 많아요. So I have a lot of people to invite. That's the main part of the sentence here. Such as 친구들이며, friends, 가족들이며, family. 친구들이며, 가족들이며, 부를 사람이 많아요. I have many people to invite, such as friends, such as family. This is how you're most often going to see email being used, is twice. So it's not just saying like, they're my friends and my family, 가족이에요. You're not just saying that, but you're using it in a sentence. And this really implies I have other examples I could give you. Well, I have friends, I have family, for example. I have Bob that lives down the street, my neighbor's dog. The neighbor doesn't like me, but the dog is chill. You know, I have plenty of people I can invite, such as. So I think if you translate this as such as, whenever you see more than one, you're going to get a good translation. So I have lots of people to invite. I have lots of people to invite, such as friends and family. 친구들이며 가족들이며 부를 사람이 많아요. I actually ordered new erasers already. I already got new erasers in the mail. I'm just using this until it starts streaking because I don't want to waste it. But I do have new ones already, in case you're wondering. I ran out of space. Let me write that again. I'll start a little bit more to the left. 요 주방이며 Okay. 화장실, bathroom, 주방, kitchen. 청소하다 is to clean. 개 is 거시. 개 is just 거시 for thing. 것이 많아요. So 청소할 것, something to clean. So 청소할 게 많아요. I have lots of things to clean, such as 화장실, the bathroom, and 주방, the kitchen. 화장실이며 주방이며 청소할 게 많아요. I have lots of things to clean, such as the bathroom and the kitchen. 화장실이며, so the bathroom and 주방이며, and the kitchen and 청소할 게 많아요. I have lots of things to clean. So again, such as, you're listing off multiple things, and it implies that there's more. You're just not saying it. So this doesn't mean that you just have to clean the bathroom and the kitchen. It means you have lots of things to clean. And for example, I'm going to give you two of those. The bathroom and the kitchen, for example. 화장실이며 주방이며 청소할 게 많아요. I have lots of things to clean, such as the bathroom and the kitchen. Or I have to clean lots of things like the bathroom and the kitchen. You can extend the vowel like that in English too. You can't add another particle after 며? No, because what particle would you add? I guess I'll ask it back to you. What particle could you add after this? And what would that mean? It also translates as including. I mean, you could translate a sentence any way you'd like. So if you think that this sentence works better by translating as, I have lots of things to clean, including the bathroom and the kitchen, you're fine. That has the same nuance, right? It has the same feeling. So you're fine to do that. It itself, though, doesn't mean including, but it also doesn't really mean such as, right? It just has that feeling of saying such as, like you're listing something. Okay. I have one more sentence. And then I have a tip for this form. Okay. 여기는 here, so this place, 평일 is a weekday. 주말 is a weekend. 평일이며 주말이며. 늘 means always. Note that 늘 is a more poetic, a more fancy way of saying 항상. So it's not going to be used in regular speech. You'll see it used in poems and songs, but normally in speech you're going to want to use 항상. This means always. 오래, for a long time. 기다리다, to wait. 기다려야 해요. You have to wait a long time always on weekdays and on weekends. 여기는 평일이며 주말이며 sorry, my intonation's all over the place. 여기는 평일이며 주말이며 늘 오래 기다려야 해요. So here you have to wait a long time on weekdays and on the weekend, or such as on the weekdays and on the weekends, or on the weekdays and including the weekends. Anything you want to translate it as is fine. So here you always have to wait a long time on weekdays and on weekends. 여기는 평일이며 주말이며 늘 오래 기다려야 해요. I'm going to leave this up for just half a minute, and then I have a tip for using this form. Lady Natbug asks if you would use commas. Nope, you do not use commas. Commas in Korean officially can be used after any long gap in a sentence to break it up, just like we do in English. But in actual use, they are not used that way. In actual use, commas are never used in the middle of a sentence. They are actually used at the end of a sentence the way we would use a period before we are finished with the entire paragraph. They're used to break up. They're kind of used like semicolons. Imagine that a comma is like used like a semicolon in Korean, but that they are very common. So they are used kind of like a period. Now you're not going to use semicolons at the end, complete end of your thought, right? But that's kind of how commas are used in Korean. So they're used at the end of a sentence, before the next sentence, but they're not supposed to be. Just that's how they tend to get used, especially in like essays and long form writing. You'll see commas used where there should be a period. Not everyone though. A lot of people do use periods correctly. Just you're gonna see that as well. But as far as commas in regular sentences, no, you're not really gonna see them used. The one says, would 항상 sound out of place? No, it wouldn't. Just 늘 matches anyway because it has more of a fancy feel to it anyway. But that doesn't mean you can't use regular, like everyday speech mixed in with more fancy speech too. So it wouldn't be wrong. Here it has the nuance of 이든. So it has the usage of 이든. It doesn't have the nuance, because if you're saying 주말이며, 평일이며, 주말이며, it doesn't mean like I don't care about what I'm saying. You know, the weekends, whatever. The weekdays are the same. The weekends are the same. 이든 is like whatever. I don't care. 이든 implies that the speaker doesn't have a preference for it. Doesn't matter. Whereas this doesn't. This simply is saying this and this. So it has a different nuance, although the usage here would be fine to switch. But different nuance and different feeling to the sentence. That would be like whether it's the weekend or whether it's the weekday, I don't really care. It's fine to go, or it doesn't matter. Then that's, if you want that nuance, then use 튼. But this doesn't have that sort of nuance. If that makes sense. Would you recommend learning Korean and Mandarin at the same time? I mean, the more time you spend studying Korean, the better you're going to get more quickly. So if you're dividing your time, which is already not going to be a lot of time, unless you're like really young and you have summer vacation, you have months to just study Korean, you're going to learn it slower if you're not able to devote it that much time. So let's say you have like 2 hours a day to devote to language learning, which would be a lot. But let's say you have 2 hours a day, and you decide I'm going to study Korean and Mandarin at the same time. Well, now your time to study Korean is half. Actually, it's more than half because you're going to need a break between studying. Some days you're going to feel like, oh, I just don't feel like studying at all because I did 2 hours yesterday. Whereas you wouldn't have felt like that if you only did 1 hour. So you're going to get less than half, but you can still do it. If you really just enjoy learning languages, then go ahead. But the more time you're able to put into a language, the faster you're going to learn it. So more languages you're learning at once means less time. Okay, I have another tip. If you are using regular speech and you want to have the same feeling of listing multiple things, well, with nouns, you can't really do that too much. But let's see. If you're just saying a single noun, so let me do this again. For regular everyday speech, if you're just saying a single verb, so that's going to be a verb with myo or maybe imyo after a noun. In everyday speech, you just want to use ko because although it has the feeling of you're listing things, it's only one. It's not going to be a big difference. Just switch it to ko. However, for any sentence where it's more than one, so you're going to say something imyo, for that, you can convey that same feeling of, for example, this, or such as this and this. You can convey that same feeling in everyday conversation with a different form. No, not cool. I was like, wait, that's a different form. There is a cool kurota form that's different meaning. After a noun, let me say this clearly again. If you have a sentence that only has one imyo, you can just swap it for this, for everyday speech, just for cool. But if it has two and you want that feeling of you're listing things like such as this and this, you can use this form, which is a spoken only form. So it's not going to be formal. It's only informal. To, kuroko. This can be attached after a noun and it has the meaning of this too and this, like you're giving multiple examples. So for our other example, you can say 여기는 평일도 그렇고 주말도 그렇고 항상 오래 기다려야 돼요. You can say that. Just swap 도 그렇고 in the place of imyo when it's being used twice in your everyday conversation, and you can still give it that feeling, but without having it sound overly fancy or formal. But again, this is an informal spoken only grammar form. So you're not going to even find this in books likely, but it is used. Or 화장실도 그렇고 주방도 그렇고 청소할 게 많아요. 친구들도 그렇고 가족들도 그렇고 부를 사람이 많아요. Like that. Same thing, same sort of nuance, but this is much more friendly to everyday casual speech or informal speech. So you can use this instead for your regular everyday conversations, but just remember it's not formal or fancy like email. Oh, and I didn't explain what that means. Literally, it means also this is what I'm talking about. This is also so. This is also so. So meaning like that. So this is also like that. And this is also like that. So you could use that form as well. Okay, that is the lesson. Let me quickly take a thumbnail image. Okay, that's my thumbnail image. I just need to get something that I can put in the video. Now I'm going to take questions. So if you have any questions, I am open for questions. I'm open for business. The doctor is in, although I'm not a doctor. Although I did stay at a Holiday Inn once. Only for Genius says, hello. Only 30 days left for my TOPIK 2 test. I would give you the advice I would give anyone taking a TOPIK test. Find previous year's TOPIK tests and practice those. There is no other way to prepare for a higher level TOPIK test. I mean, the beginning ones, you don't have to do that but for the higher level TOPIK test, the only way you can do that is by taking the TOPIK test. You practice by taking the test because it's a test for test takers. It's made to do that. Music for the Happy Soul says, just got home from the airport in time to join the live. Nice. Yeah, practice mock exams and focus on fixing the first questions for each part. That's the easiest part to get more points. Okay, it's a good tip. Okay, now I'm going to take any questions. If you have any questions either about the topic today or other topics, feel free to ask, and I'll stick around until 3:30. So for the next like 25 minutes, I'll stay around here. Heli or Heli or Hel. I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. When I study for the TOPIK 2, you say, I feel like I know everything but the vocabulary. Any tips for that? Study for the TOPIK vocabulary specifically by studying the vocab that's in mock tests. So previous year's TOPIK tests, that is the vocabulary you want to learn. You do not want to go out and buy a common vocabulary book because that will not have the vocabulary that you need for the TOPIK test. The TOPIK test uses vocabulary that is not commonly used in everyday conversation. So even if you can watch dramas, that doesn't mean you're going to know the vocab that's going to be in a TOPIK test because they'll use their own different sets of words commonly, like words about like economics, words about finance, like all these different terms that they use in TOPIK that you're not going to get just from studying what Korean people actually say and do. So you have to get previous year's TOPIK tests if you want to pass the higher levels. I'm too afraid of TOPIK 2, so I'm thinking of switching to TOPIK 1. Have you seen TOPIK 1 and 2 to compare? I mean, have you already taken TOPIK 1? Is this your first time ever taking it? In which case, sure, try TOPIK 1. That way you can, get a hang of how it works and then be better prepared for the next time. But if you've already done it, if you're trying for TOPIK 2, but you're like, oh, I'll take TOPIK 1 again, just do TOPIK 2. It's not going to hurt you. Twinigo asks, can we order a fancy menu at a fancy restaurant with email just to make it sound very fancy? 저는, well, it's like you're listing first of all, you can't say email because it's like, it is this way. No, that would be so awkward. What I want to eat is I want to eat many things, such as fish and such as lobster. Then what do you think the waiter's going to ask you? So you want fish and lobster? It doesn't mean give me fish and give me lobster. It just means what something is what I'm saying and something is this what I'm saying. That doesn't mean give me something, right? You could say, oh, glorious waiter person, thou art wonderful and kind. You could say that. And then they'll be like, okay, here's an English menu. I'm not going to speak Korean to you anymore. But you can't say, please give me this and this because ida, again, it's saying something is this. So the best you could do would express what I would like to order is this and this, but it doesn't really sound like you're ordering it. It's just like, okay, so that's what you want. So no, don't do it. And if they're at best, they're going to think you don't know Korean. They're not going to get that you're trying to be funny unless you've already established with them that you speak Korean. Then they'll be like, oh, okay, they're trying to be funny by using this form. Otherwise, they're going to think, why did this foreigner learn that form? That's kind of awkward. They might try to correct you to the regular way and they won't get your joke. So yeah, you have to be careful about that. 엄마이며 저 부모님이며 돌봐야 할 사람이 많아요. There are lots of people I have to look after, such as my mother. Yeah, you could. I have books of both, but never took TOPIK 1. Okay, if you've never taken it before, Oh, you already registered for it? Just do it. Just do it and just tell yourself, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to fail it. Just tell yourself that. I don't mean like you're going to fail it. It's not a negative mindset. It's more of a let's just do it kind of mindset. Like, don't worry about what your score is going to be. Just tell yourself, you know what? I didn't mean to register for this. It was a mistake, but you know what? I'm still going to do my best. I'm going to try it. I'm going to have fun. And who cares what my score is? And I don't expect it's going to be high. If it's high, well, that would surprise me. But if it's not, I'm not going to be disappointed because this was not the test I meant to take. You can think of it like that. And then next time you take it, keep that in mind. Like, oh, last time I did 2 by mistake, but I actually did okay. I didn't pass, but I did okay. Maybe I'm going to try 2 again this time and I'll know how to prepare for it better. Or you take 2 and you completely bomb it, right? So then you're like, well, that's okay. Now I'm going to do 1, but I'm really going to be ready for it. Okay. Nithin asks, will there be more Hanja videos? Yes, there will be more Hanja videos. You'll see more of those Hanja videos while I'm in Korea because those videos are in a different series, which I only post on weeks that I don't do live streams. I used to post them every week regardless, but I didn't have time to do that and make new courses since I'm one person doing the whole channel. I mean, I have, let's see, who do I get? Jeremy will sometimes help move the camera if I'm on the camera, and my wife will sometimes help me with putting together sentence examples if I need like native sentences for things. But besides that, I'm doing everything by myself. So I have to prioritize right now my new course. So because of that, I didn't have time to do an extra lesson every single week. But when I'm in Korea, you're going to start seeing those videos again because I'm not going to be doing live streams every week when I'm in Korea. Twinigo said, I thought that would make me look fluent. Sure. No, fluency in Korean is not about fancy grammar forms like it is in English. Short sentences spoken confidently sounds fluent. So you'll see a lot of people calling themselves fluent, even if they're just like basic conversational. But if you're confident and you're making sentences that make sense, you're technically fluent. I mean, can you talk about any topic? No. Do you sound like a native? No. But you sound like good enough. They're not having a problem communicating with you. Then you're fluent. So that can be, you can do that with short sentences. You don't have to sound fancy in order to sound fluent in Korean. You can sound like totally normal. You can use slang and stuff and still sound fluent. 기대되지도 않으며 토픽 시험에 최선을 다할게요. I do not even expect it, and I shall do my best on the test, on the TOEIC test. Ayakata, I did a lot of, do you know someone who did a lot of shadowing? But Ayakata, I didn't know you were fluent. Shadowing is very helpful, but you need to do more than just shadowing if you want to be fluent. You can certainly learn a lot of forms, like expose yourself to a lot of forms that way though. And that's what you'll need to be doing. So you could ask for suggestions using this form. No, it's not used for asking suggestions again, because you're saying something is something. And to help you understand that, translate this as 이고. When you see 이며, translate in your head as 이고. So something is, and it's this. So it's going to be in statements. Brit just says, what's a good app to use? I've done a video about apps before. I don't know if I have it in here. Let me check. No, I don't have a button to share them. I didn't really find many apps that I thought were useful for Korean. Back when I made my video about apps, I think like Naver Dictionary or some sort of dictionary app is going to be useful. I like Anki for reviewing, although they charge like $20 or something for the Apple version. So you can actually use the web browser version for free on that. Someone just told me, I think last week. That's good. I like Anki. I'm not sure if the Sejong Hakdang video apps are still working, but 4 years ago when I made a video, those were pretty good. Sejong Academy had some decent apps that were kind of fun. Besides that, I don't really recommend apps for learning. There aren't any that I know of that are good. If there are, let me know. I'd be happy to recommend if there are some new ones. And then there are like other language learning apps, which I don't really recommend, but there could be like flashcard apps are fine. Language exchange apps are fine, stuff like that. Lingo Deer, I didn't get into it. I didn't really get into it. I heard it's better. Many people said it's better than Duolingo, but I didn't get into either of them. I'm not really a fan of either of them. Billy, do you recall any aha moments while learning something specific in Korean you realized were grammar or words that are actually related, connected to the same thing? Yeah, everything. But I make videos about that stuff. Like if I thinking about a topic for a long time, trying to think what's the most recent thing that I had. Oh, I mean, I have like aha moments all the time because like all I do all day is just think about Korean stuff. So I was thinking about, I don't know when I realized this. This was several years ago, but I was thinking about like, actually, that's not good. Let's do a different one. Let's see if there's another one. So I was thinking about these several years ago and really thinking about it a lot again lately because I want to make another video about this. But how come, oh wait, that you really can't see that at all. So these are verbs that all end with this letter, the hiat, the H letter. How come this verb 좋다, meaning to be good, is regular? You conjugate it as 좋아요. That's it. But this one and this one and this one are irregular, and most of them that have this are irregular. How come? Has anyone ever thought about it before? I have the answer, but has anyone ever thought about that before? Why is this one regular and these ones are not? Oh, this one's also regular. Well, actually, the manta technically, you could consider it to be not be. But anyway, why are these ones different? Cosma, I have a video about tung, actually. It's in this live stream playlist. I've done a live lesson about it. First of all, you would have to do 많은, not 말, since it's always used before the adjective form of the verb, which would be 많은. Actually, in English, it's the same. Complex grammar forms don't guarantee fluency. Yes. Keith says, all the apps I've seen tend to be less useful after high beginner. Keith, I would actually argue that most of the ones I've seen are only useful for like brand new beginner, and right after brand new beginner are no longer useful. Now, I'd be happy to be corrected if there are some new apps that have come out. Let me know. But from the ones I've seen, most of them are only useful in like the very low beginner level. And then there are some that are kind of where you're talking about, where they're like useful up to a high beginner, but then beyond that, they're really not useful. And my idea is that if the low beginner level is a level you should only be at for a short time, less than a year. If you're someone who's studying Korean regularly, you're not going to be at that level for more than a year. I mean, if you're doing it really fast, maybe a few months, 6 months, you'll be out of that level. But let's just say a year to be nice, because not everyone's going to be studying it a ton. I think the app should be useful for more than 6 months to a year, though. Otherwise, I'm not going to bother recommending it. Oh, Czech Rambles. I can't read your name. Sorry. Czech Rambles, of course. Thank you. And you wrote, 감사합니다, 선생님. When are you going to Korea next? I'm going to be in Korea from the very, very, very beginning of June. So I'll be having another fan meetup again in June. If any of you are going to be in Korea at that time, June, July, probably June, I'll be doing another fan meetup. I don't know when though. Maybe the middle of June. Not the end because it's going to be too hot. Sometime there, I'll be doing a fan meetup. Thank you. And Kat. Kat. 고양이. 고양이 with a K. Kat, thank you. And Kat says, thank you for the lesson. Thank you. You're welcome. No idea why. Maybe because they're longer? No, it's not because they're longer. Do you know the Tuida app? Yes, I do. I tried it out when it was new. So I haven't checked it out in like almost 4 years. Yeah, I haven't checked it out in almost 4 years, actually. So I don't know if they ever added any more content. I did check it out 3 years ago and they hadn't. As of 3 years ago, they hadn't added any new content. So maybe they did in the past 2 years. It was cool, but they didn't have enough content. And when I was using the app, so again, I've never been paid by them or anything. When I was using the app, I did notice that it doesn't recognize your voice if you say it correctly. It only recognizes your voice if you say it how it expects you to say it, which was how the AI was trained to hear it, I guess. So I was playing with it and I would say the expressions correctly and it would say wrong. And when I would pronounce them one syllable at a time inaccurately, it would say it's perfect. So I didn't quite understand what was the deal with that. Maybe they've updated it though. I just remember that experience when I first tried to use the app, that it was like, oh, this is kind of a cool concept, but there aren't enough videos, and then it wouldn't recognize correct pronunciation. So yeah, if they've updated it, I hope they've changed it. I hope they've improved it since then, but that's how it was last time I tried it about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, actually. Okay, so their actual reason, this is, you don't need to know this. You don't really need to know this, but the actual reason is that these words have a different origin. For words that have the hiat at the bottom and nothing else, although I don't really even need to say that because there are some that aren't. But anyway, to keep it simple, these words actually come from a contraction of hada. Hada. Not to do hada, but to be hada, which is also hada. For hada with pure Korean verbs, it actually means, with descriptive verbs for pure Korean or descriptive verbs, hada actually means to be when it's used with descriptive verbs, so adjectives. So this would be kuro hada. So if this was originally hada, how does hada conjugate to the yo form? Does it conjugate as kuro hayo? No? No, it doesn't. Kuro he. It's hail, right? Hey. So when you conjugate, 그러해, 그래요. 까마해, 까마해요, 까매요. And 하야해요, 하예요. That's what you get. This one is not from hada. This is simply the verb as is. 좋아요. The end. But there are a lot of these, and all of the colors, the pure Korean colors have this. As well as the question words. So 그렇다, 저렇다, 이렇다, and 어떻다. So to be that way, this way, or that way, and how. Those ones also. So basically it's colors and those ones that you'll see it on the most. And there aren't too many verbs that do it, but they all are fairly common, the ones that are that. So that's the reason why these ones conjugate differently. And if you're wondering about that, you can actually you can actually Naver dictionary, look up any word and click on it and it'll show you the original form or what it came from. They won't show you that for all of the colors, I think. It'll have it for like kurota is definitely in there. Some of them will have it when it had an older version and you can see how it was originally a contraction of something with hada in it. Keith, yeah. There are a lot of those. 찬타. This chi, no, okay, so the verb 괜찮다 originally was from this ending 찬타 originally is chi anta, combines into 찬타. Sorry, not 찬타, 찬타. Or wait, no, it is 찬타. I had it right the first time. Okay, 찬타. This chi also is a shortened version of 하지. So originally the form would have been 괜하지 않다, which becomes 괜치 않다, which becomes 괜찮다. And there are other verbs that have this too. 편찮다. 편찮다 is 편하지 않다. Anyway, there's a few others as well. So this also was a contraction of this. 치 from 하지. 잖아. You know the form 그렇잖아. 잖아 is 지 않아 originally. Or 지 않아요. So 잖아요. 뭐 있잖아요. 없잖아요. 했잖아요. That잖아요 is originally 지 않아요. Shortened. Now the meaning of it, literally the meaning of it's the same, but it has a different nuance because it's been shortened. So it's no longer a standard informal ending. It's lost a bit of its formality and it sounds more like slang. It sounds a little bit more casual. And there are a lot of shortened stuff like this in Korean. Oh, Nastaria, hold on. Nastaria says they sent a donation over PayPal. Oh, hold on. I got something. Wait, I got 2 from you. Nastaria, did I get 2 from you? Did I get 2 from you, Nastaria? I see 2. One for $10 and one for $15. Is that correct? How did I miss the other one? How did I miss the other one? I didn't see it. I must have missed you saying it before. Thank you. I must have missed it because I see the other one says it was an hour ago. I'm sure you said it. I just somehow missed it. 많다. I can't remember what that one is. Let me check before I teach it without checking. No, that's different origin, but same kind of ending with man hada. Maybe because this one transferred over from that hada earlier on that it didn't get this treatment. Could be. I don't know. Mom says, I'm late. Yes, you're late. Mary Laura says it's almost like turning the hiat sound silent. Yes, and I made a video about this before, but that's a common misunderstanding is people learn this letter like this, right? This is how everyone learned it. I didn't teach it this way, but this is how, I don't know who teaches it like this. They teach that this letter equals the H in English. And then when people start learning about like sound change rules and exceptions, they're like, wait, that's weird. Why does it do that? It was never an H. It was never an H sound. It's totally wrong to learn hiat is H. Even though you might say, oh wait, why? Of course it is, right, Billy? This is hada, right? It's like an H, hada. You only hear that sound at the beginning of a new word or at the beginning of a new sound. You're never going to hear this when it's not at the very front of something, because this is not an H. This is extra air. The only time you hear extra air is at the beginning of a word. You never hear it inside of a word. That's why, and you can always tell beginners that are using romanization to learn. I can always spot them right away. I just ask them to say hello. Everyone, how do you read this? How do you say hello? The most basic word in Korean. How do you say hello? Or let's even get more basic. How do you say thank you in Korean? Like, you might not even know hello. Maybe you only learn thank you. One of these two. How do you say these in Korean? If you say this to me, I can tell you right away if you used romanization to learn Korean, because of how they're going to pronounce this. Do you say 안녕 하세요? If you do, you used romanization to learn Korean like they told you not to. Like I told you not to. Do you say 감사합니다? Well, unless you're saying it really slowly, it's also the same thing. This is not 합니다, 하세요. No, this is 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. It's not an H, it's just air. 안녕하세요. Said quickly is 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. It disappears. It's practically gone. 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. You can say it as 안녕하세요, and it's 100% correct. 감사합니다, 감사합니다, 감사합니다 is fine. You don't say 감사합니다 because that would be, it's like you're stopping here. You're not going to hear air in the middle of a word because you're already saying that air. Anyway, the air is already coming out to pronounce. You only hear this letter at the start of a word. So like 하다, 해요, like that. Then you hear it. 흥, hum, hong. Like you hear it at the beginning of a sound, right? Because that's where you first notice the air coming out. You do not hear it in the middle of a word. So for the word phone or phone call, it's 전화, 전화. But again, it's air. You don't say 전화. You say 전화, 전화. It sounds like 전화 without an H. 전화, 전화. Because you don't say it. And if you're doing this correctly, you don't even have to learn. Actually, if you're saying the letters correctly in the first place, you don't have to learn the majority of sound change rules to begin with, because they'll automatically happen. 박하, 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 박하. No, it's not an H. It's air, remember? How would you say pak if there's air after it? 박하, 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 박하. This is pronounced as 박하, 박하, 박하 desu ne. Paka, because that's exactly how you're supposed to say it. It's not really a sound change rule, except for a non-native Korean speaker looking at it. You have to think, oh, that's right. If you're saying this letter correctly, it's not a sound change rule. It's just what normally happens when you say a consonant before you add extra air. If you add extra air to a consonant, it becomes a strong consonant naturally. So yeah. That's the end of my rant about the H letter, that it's not an H letter, it's just extra air. Nastaria said, I actually forgot to say something an hour ago because I'm struggling with setting something up and I just decided to take a brain. You took a brain? That's a good idea. Sometimes I just want to take a brain. It's not working. Can't think. Hold on, guys. I'm going to take a brain real quick. Oh, take a break. Okay. Yeah. I say it as 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 감사합니다. 감사합니다. That's more natural. I mean, you could say 감사합니다 if you're saying it slowly, but it sounds like you're saying each syllable one at a time. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. It's like you're jokingly saying it slowly. And you can do that. If you're saying each sound individually, you will hear that H because it's now at the start of a new sound. It's more like the French H, says Julie Julie. Is that actually your name, Julie Julie? Julie Julie. Bonjour, je suis Julie Julie. Finally, people understand the French H. That's, yeah, you'll hear ha 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 at the beginning of a word, but you're not going to hear it in the middle of a word. Yeah, it's kind of like that. That's a good way to relate. One of my aha moments was that Uda and Wa were related because they didn't sound the same to me. Flo Purdy. Hey, thank you, Flo. Oh no, I almost dropped my tablet. I got so excited from Flo's comment that I like half placed it on my stand and I almost threw it on the floor. I almost broke my useless tablet. That would have been bad. My rooted 2015 Amazon Fire tablet. Stolen from Jeremy because he doesn't use it anymore. He used it when he was a baby to play his little games on. But yeah, we don't use that anymore. So I rooted it and put on YouTube. Now it works as my tablet. Polygon says, "Hi Billy, do you have some tips about what to do when studying Korean becomes significantly harder?" Okay, sounds like you're getting into the intermediate level. Some grammar concepts can be so confusing and make us feel stuck. So significantly harder. Polygon, you're describing, I'll keep this quick, but you're describing what's known as the plateau. And there are plateaus at the intermediate level, and there's another one at the advanced level, but intermediate level is what most people face. That's where you feel like you're studying, feels like you're not getting any better, even though you are. You can't really feel it. And Korean gets a lot more harder. The only way to get over that is to significantly increase your input and your output. There's no shortcut. You need to be watching a significant amount of Korean content. Preferably that's close to your level. So don't go out and try to watch dramas. Those are going to be way above anyone's level unless you're already advanced. But try YouTube channels, variety shows, podcasts, stuff like that, and get as much listening practice as possible. Like hours and hours, if possible, as every day, as much as you can do it, like an hour a day, at least, as much as possible. And then find a way to practice speaking as well. You don't necessarily need hours and hours of speaking practice, but you do need hours and hours of listening practice. And you need some speaking practice as well. But that's the only way to actually get yourself over that. Otherwise, you're still going to be improving. It's just going to not feel like it. Because the amount of Korean you need in order to get to that next level that you'll feel is the next level, like actually speaking with people, is very big. So in order to do that, you have to get a ton of listening practice. Lady Natbug says, "You might finally have to buy a new tablet." Yeah. Not going to do that. That's not going to happen. If this one breaks, I'm going to go back to the other one that I was using, which was a 2013 or 2013. Yeah, it was 2013 Micro Center Windows 8 tablet. And that I bought for like $100. So that was, yeah, back in like 2013. And accidentally clicked yes when it asked me if I wanted to update to Windows 10. And broke the whole tablet because all the drivers are gone. So I can't see if it's charging. I can't touch it. Can't listen to anything on it. It's totally just, I have a external keyboard I can use, so I can still use it as a monitor. But that's what I'll use if this breaks. And then if that breaks, then yeah, I'll have to go on to something else. Fisho's asking me about some Japanese learning. I don't know. I'm not learning Japanese. When you see someone overpraising themselves for being so good at Korean, know they're beginners for sure. I get what you're saying. Not always, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, sometimes people who are claiming to be very good at Korean are the ones that are beginners. Or they don't understand how much more they still have to do. Like, take it from someone who's been learning Korean now for 20 years. There is still so much more I need to learn. And that doesn't mean like you're never going to be fluent. I'm not talking about in order to be fluent. I've been fluent now for well over a decade. I'm not talking about fluency. I'm talking about, the next level in my head is here, like, oh, way up here, like a different type of level, even above regular fluency, even above conversational fluency is what I'm hoping to go for. So, and then when I get there, there's still going to be another, way I can go. Like, oh, what if I want to start learning like medical words? Then, words that Koreans might not use too much, or learning more idioms that aren't so commonly used. There's always more that you can learn. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, as Fisho says. Yeah, the more Dunning, not dunking. When you start learning something, you very quickly think that you're progressing, and that when you've learned just a little bit, you start thinking that you know a lot more than you know. Like at the very early stages, you think you know way more than you do, and you think you're learning way faster than you actually are. So you might only know the basics of something, but you think, oh, now I know all of, the stuff I need to learn. And there's just a little bit left. But really that little bit left is like everything else. And then as you keep learning, you realize, oh, wait, no, I'm actually still down here. I see where I have to go. Yeah. And I'm kind of like past there as well. So I know, like when I first started, I'm like, oh, I'm learning really fast. And now I can, and then a year or so after that, I'm like, oh no, I was only there. Now I'm here. And I can see other people that go through that same thing where they might say, oh, here's how you learn Korean in only 1 month or something like that. And I can watch the video and I know they don't know any Korean. But I don't think that they're lying. I think just they don't know where they actually are, that they think they actually have gotten to here when in reality they're still way down here. 우려하다. Hilai Shet asks, 우려하다. Where did you see it? Because it's an advanced word. Isn't it like considering? I'm trying to think of a good way to translate. Yeah. Like concerning. That's Fisher says, be concerned. Feel word. Yeah. You'll see it in stories. It's not the regular word you'll use in everyday speech. If you're saying that you're concerned about something, usually you're just going to use 걱정하다 or 걱정이 되다, to be concerned, to be worried about something. But 우려하다, you could use it too. It's just more of a fancy, more of like a written word. I don't see it very much. Like I said, I only knew the word, but I never use it. Elio asked, no, these were made by my son. He made this one today also. It's a chujak, he says, which is I can't remember, is that vermilion bird or something? It's like a red flying mythological creature. I don't know. 고민되다 is to think about something, like you're not sure. Like 걱정하다 is actually worrying, like you're stressing. 고민 is you're thinking about what you should do. Like I'm thinking about what I should wear. I'm thinking about what I should eat for lunch. I'm thinking about when I should take a trip to Korea. That's 고민. That's not 걱정. 걱정 is like, oh, I'm worried if I can even, do this. I'm too nervous, or I'm worried if I don't even know if it's going to go well. That's an actual 걱정. So there's a difference between 걱정 and 고민, although they both can translate as you're concerned or you're worried. A plumberman says, I like to find YouTube channels focused on specific things, cooking, exercise. It helps because you know what the focus of the conversation will be about. Yeah, that's good. It was being used like 걱정하다. Yeah, it is 걱정하다. I mean, you can use it in a casual setting, but it has a fancy feeling to it. There are a lot of words like that. Like if you use the word concerning in English, what feeling does it give you versus worried? You can kind of think of it like that. So it's much less common. But if you show me the sentence, I can break it down better for you. Cosma said, I have trouble when listening. Oh, I said you said I'm going to send this question next Korean hotline stream. But let me see. I have trouble listening when I don't know a word. Instead of listening for more context, my brain just gets fixated on that word and I don't understand anything. Do I need to practice more? That would be a good question to send in for the hotline. Let me see if I can give you a quick answer for it right now, though. So let me see if I understand correctly what you're asking. You're saying you're learning a word, and when you don't know a word, your brain shuts down and you can't think of anything except that word because you missed it. Yeah, that's the normal thing that happens. You could know 90% of what someone says, but not that last 10%. And you understand, therefore, the nothing about what they're talking about, especially if it's like a question. Yeah, that's normal. And the only way to get better at that is learning more of the vocab that they're using that you don't know. If you know like 99% of what they're saying, then it's okay if you miss that one word. You'll still understand what they're saying. You won't know that word, but you can actually guess what that word is or what it could be by understanding the rest of it. But when that's still a larger number, like, 10%, and in a short sentence, one word could be 10, 20% of the sentence. So you just need to learn more of the common vocabulary. And you don't have to worry about learning every word in Korean because no one's going to use a sentence with a really rare word in it and just assume the listener understands what they're saying. Like, I'm not going to go and be like, I'm trying to think of an example. The other day I saw a vermilion bird. Like, you're never going to say that. Like, I was trying to use this as an example. I think it was vermilion bird or something like that. You're never going to say that. You might do an example sentence where you're like, this is a story of what was called a vermilion bird, a mythical creature that is bright, fiery red. Then you get the meaning, even though you didn't know the word, you get the meaning because you heard all the other words and it was that one you're missing. But if someone's not just going to give you a sentence with like one random unused word and expect the listener to understand it, unless they're kind of being like a jerk or they're trying to sound fancy on purpose, they're going to make it in context, right? And if it's a word they're using in a short sentence you didn't get, it's probably a real word that you should learn. So you just need to learn more vocabulary to get over that. But you can also ask it in the hotline if you don't like the answer, if you want a longer answer. I'll do another Korean hotline in a couple weeks from now. Gemma C says, I feel like I'm the opposite. I'm currently a beginner learning Korean and I'm almost too hyper aware of all the things I don't know yet, so it's intimidating me. Yeah, that's fine. You will get better. He says, a conversation melts away while I rattle off possible hunt on my head. Worry about versus mull over. You could think of it like that. Yomnyoma. Oh, okay, yeah, don't. Then that's being used as an expression itself. Worry not, like that. As long as the random unpopular word is not the keyword, yeah. And if it is, you might have missed the beginning of the conversation to know what they're talking about. But the way people speak in Korean is not, they're not going to do that. They're not going to make a regular sentence and suddenly throw in a random word that's really, really high level. It's going to be a word that's common. And if it is a word that they know is a little bit higher, more difficult, people, when they're speaking to someone they want them to understand, they're going to kind of put it in context for them. Like, you're not going to do that either. You're not just going to ramble off like an acronym for something. Like, oh, yesterday I was down at the CIA and I talked with my friend at the NBA working for the FBI, and he told me MIA, ABC, 123, YMCA. You're not going to do that to someone, right? You want them to understand. So you might throw in acronyms that you know are commonly used. But if there's an acronym that you know is rare, you're going to like say it and define it while you say it. And Koreans will do the same thing for you. So if you hear a word that's used in a regular conversation, just learn it. It's probably going to be a real common word. Like I said, unless they're talking about something really specific, like if they're talking about like they're doctors and they're talking about medical stuff together, you don't need to eavesdrop on them. But if it's just a regular conversation, just learn it. You can look up the word, see if that's a word you think you'll ever need, and learn it. Like it's gonna come up again. Twinny says, does Jeremy watch any Korean cartoons? Yes, he watches Pokemon in Korean. He also watches a show called Shinbi Apate. He doesn't watch it as much anymore because I think the contract got canceled where they were in this Korean streaming platform and it's no longer there. But he also watched this. It's kind of like horror stories cartoon for kids. And what else does he like? That's what he's been watching lately, though. I think just Pokemon. Okay, I'm going to stop this live stream in just 2 minutes. Any last questions before we end for today? Mary Laura says, I'm a language interpreting graduate and specific terms are our biggest enemy. Your fluency means nothing if you don't know the terms and abbreviations. Yeah. No matter how much Korean you learn, there's always going to be more waiting for you on the other side. But the good news is, though, you'll be able to have full conversations much, much earlier than that. You don't have to wait. You know, if you're studying really hard every day, you're doing tons of listening practice, or let's say you live in Korea and you're practicing every day or something like that, you're not going to have to wait that long before you're conversational in Korean. So you'll get to be able to use the language in real situations fairly quickly. But then if you're talking about like to reach native level where you know 100% of dramas, you understand everything that someone's saying in a book, that's a different story. So if someone says that they mastered Korean, it doesn't matter how long they've been studying. That's not true. You can't master Korean unless even if you're a native speaker, you can't master Korean. I see Korean teachers, including myself. I've seen Korean teachers make mistakes with Korean. You can't master the language. It's always something you're trying to improve. The one says, if the person I'm talking to missed what I'm talking about, can I repeat, for example, 고양이는 at the end instead of the beginning? Yeah, what you can actually do. So you could do that, but I'll give you a better example. You can say whatever it is and then just say Mario or Mario. So basically what I am saying is literally the words are, and then 고양이 Mario, like I'm talking about the cat. Or if you want to be more literal, now these aren't the only ways you could do it. These are just examples. 말하는 거예요. So I am saying 고양이 말하는 거예요. 고양이한테 말하는 거예요. I'm talking about the cat. I'm saying the cat. 고양이 말이요. I'm talking about the cat, like that. Like you're saying, oh, the cat's always sleeping and lazy, doesn't do any work or anything. Oh, 고양이 말이요. I'm talking about the cat. By the way, I'm not talking about my friend. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the cat. Like that. Or there's an even simpler way. Just say what you're talking about. Since you're describing it anyway, 고양이가, and then 요. 고양이가요. The cat is everything that all the verbs I was talking about the cat is the subject of those. Again, the topic marker marks the topic of what you're talking about. But if you're just listing verbs and you're saying, oh, these verbs I just said, it's this, the cat does this. These are all verbs. Then I'm saying the cat is doing all those. The cat is all of those. You can just do like this to mark it. You wouldn't need to change the topic because it could sound like now you're going to talk about the cat. Like you're saying, hey, the topic I'm talking about now is the cat. And it could imply that, hey, now I'm going to talk about the cat. Not everything I said was the cat. Whereas this does that. This is like, hey, everything I just said, this is the cat's the subject of it. That's another way you can do it. Okay. Kai. I was just about to close the stream and then Kai sends a donation. Why? I'm not going to read your email address, but that's a funny email address. their email address, without reading it, it has the words spam account in their email address, meaning it's their alt email address. I just noticed that right now. Thank you, Kai. 여기 라방을 처음부터 끝까지 본 지 한참 됐는데 너무 즐거웠어요. 다음 방송은 벌써 기대되네요. Thank you for coming. Kai, I think it's time to change your YouTube name. Is that your YouTube name as well? Spam account or whatever? 선생님, 한자 is too difficult, so I came across your page today, but I can believe I slept off. I even hold in paper and a pen to take notes. Is it really? Okay, so I see your question is it really necessary to learn Hanja? No. Reading and writing? No. Hanja meanings? Yes, because those are used in tons of words. So if you recognize, at least if you learn them as a suffix or a prefix in a word, then yeah, you do need to learn them. You just don't have to learn how to read and write them anymore. Now, if you do know how to read and write them, if you know how to write them, I'll say it's mostly useless with a few exceptions. If you know how to read them though, it's not useless. There are places in Korea that would benefit from being able to read Hanja. Building signs use them. I've seen lots of jokes that use them. Some places, newspaper articles will use them. You'll see them now and then in different ways, but you don't really need that. You do though need to know just the Hanja's meaning and its sound. You don't need to know how to really read it and write it though. You're fine not knowing that. If you just know there is a Hanja that exists that means small and the sound is so, you're good. Like that's it. Just learn that much. And I have lessons about that in my Korean FAQ series. There's a whole Hanja playlist on my channel as well. You can go through. I have several dozens of lessons about Hanja, and I'm making some more. I'll be making 6 more of those, probably the end of this month or next month. Anyway, you'll see them while I'm in Korea. You'll see them June and July when they come up again. Kai says, I'd like my dabs though. 선생님. I was just about to leave. I was just about to take the dabs and leave. But then Kai is cashing out her dabs. Here we go, Kai. Hold on. Let me get some music. Get the dab party going. Okay, 20 dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Thank you everyone for coming. And I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.